Name's Jack Miller. Been behind the wheel longer than I care to count, and I've seen most of what this country's highways can throw at a man. Road teaches you a lot. How to read the wind, when your axle's off by a hair, or when someone behind you don't smell right. But none of that helped me out that night on I-15, south of Fillmore, Utah. That stretch? Quiet. Too quiet, maybe. I'd picked up out of Salt Lake, reefer full of appliance parts going down to Barstow. Nothing shady, all clean. Dispatch had me rolling overnight to avoid the heat, which was fine by me. Less traffic, less hassle, more road to myself. Weather was holding steady. Clear skies, about 65 on the dash, cruise on. Rig was humming like a sermon. One of those nights where the world's quiet enough to hear your own thoughts echo. I was somewhere between mile marker 141 and 128, around 2:30 in the morning. No towns, no stops, just sage, brush, and stars. Then I saw lights behind me. No sirens, just headlights, low and steady. Thought it was a fellow trucker at first, maybe someone coming up slow. But it wasn't. Tail sat low, like a Crown Vic or one of those old patrol interceptors. No logos I could make out, just clean white with a spotlight hanging off the side like a lazy eye. He didn't pass, didn't back off either. Rode me for a good 3 miles like that. I dipped my speed a notch to let him go around. Nothing. He dipped with me, matched every shift I made like he was tethered to my rear axle. Now, I've dealt with cops before. I know the drill. They ride you a bit before the lights flash, maybe run your plates, check your logs. No big deal. I keep everything tight. My ELD's clean, my logs are to the dot, permits all in order. So when the red and blues finally lit up, I wasn't worried, just confused why it took 'em so long. I flipped my signal, eased onto the shoulder. Gravel crunched under the weight. I killed my cruise, threw on the hazards, and rolled down the window. Cool desert air spilled in. He pulled up behind, but didn't angle the car like they usually do. Stayed straight. Just parked there a second. Then the door opened. Dude steps out wearing tan. Standard-looking uniform, but the badge? Couldn't read it from where I sat. Looked off somehow. Not Utah Highway Patrol. Something else. He had a wide-brim hat, sunglasses even though it was night, and a stiff posture like he was reading from a script in his head. I keep my hands on the wheel. Always do. He walked up slow, didn't say a word right away, just stood by the step, scanned the cab with his eyes, then leaned in a little. Driver's license, logbook, and BOL. Voice was flat. No small talk. No evening, sir, none of that. Just business. I handed it over, trying to get a better look at his badge as I did. It said, Interstate Enforcement Division. I blinked. Never heard of that. Is there a problem, officer? I asked. Routine inspection, he said, eyes scanning the cab like he was looking for something specific.
We've had some issues with unmanifested loads on this route. Now that ain't normal. If it's a DOT stop, you know it. They pull you away stations or coordinate through dispatch, and Utah's real clear on jurisdiction. If this guy was with UHP, he'd have proper markings, call signs, maybe even a partner. But his car was plain white. No emblems, no numbers, just a spotlight and a push bar. Felt wrong. Still, I played along. Gave him the papers, kept it friendly. Mind if I see your ID just for my record? I asked, casual-like. He gave a smile, thin and sharp. You want to play games? We can take this off the road, he said. Didn't answer the question. That's when my gut started twisting. He walked back to his car with my stuff. Didn't say to stay in the cab, didn't say to step out, just turned and walked. I watched him in the side mirror. No radio in his hand, no call in, just stood there with my license and paperwork, like he was trying to decide what to do next. Then he started toward the back of the trailer, real slow. That's when I felt it. Not panic, just a bad, cold stillness in my spine, like I'd stepped off solid ground. He didn't check tires, didn't look at the DOT bumper numbers, just walked to the trailer doors and stopped. Looked back at me, gestured for me to come open it. No protocol, no scale, no scan, no pad check, just him, in the dark, on an empty road, telling me to open 26 pallets of parts in the middle of nowhere. I stayed in the cab, reached for my phone. Zero signal. Not even a flicker. Just that old school no service like a slap to the face. CB was silent too. Dead air. That never happens on 19. Even late at night, there's always some chatter. Not now. Just me and him and a lot of desert. I looked in the mirror again. He was still standing there by the trailer doors like he expected I'd hop out and play along. But I didn't. Something in my gut was telling me this wasn't just some overzealous trooper. This was something else. Something off. I sat there, hand on the key, eyes in the glass, trying to figure if I was being paranoid or if maybe, just maybe, I'd parked in the middle of something real wrong. You ever get a gut feeling during a traffic stop that something was just off? Tell me in the comments. He just stood there, waiting by the trailer doors, one hand resting on the latch like he owned the damn thing. No flashlight, no inspection gloves, no clipboard. Didn't even try to make it look official. I kept watching him through the mirror, still sitting in the cab, engine idling low, fingers tapping the wheel. The reefer was running steady behind me, cooling that load of appliance parts like nothing weird was going on. But inside, my gut was twisting tighter by the second. I rolled the window halfway down and leaned out a bit. "Hey," I called, "that's a sealed load. Warehouse tags in the papers. You can't break it without authorization." He didn't move at first.
Just turned his head toward me, slow, like it annoyed him I was talking. Then he said, loud enough to carry over the reefer hum, "I need to verify the manifest. Open it up." That voice, flat, no accent, no effort to explain or soften, just an order. Thing is, no DOT officer I've ever met talks like that. Even the rough ones got some kind of rhythm, a protocol, some words they're trained to use. This guy had none of that. His uniform looked right from a distance, but now that I was focused, I saw the patch better. The lettering was weird, too small, wrong thread. Said Interstate Enforcement Division in a font that looked like it came off a novelty shirt. Not embroidered like the real state patches. More like ironed on. That sealed it for me. This wasn't a real cop. Not a trooper, not DOT, not anyone I recognized. And if he wasn't real, then he had no business touching that trailer. I leaned back in, shut the window, and locked the door out of habit. Reached for the mic on the CB, flipped it on, keyed to channel 19. Breaker 19. Anybody got ears on this stretch of I-15 south of Fillmore? I got something hanky here. Maybe a false stop. Anyone reading this? Over. Nothing. Not a crackle. Not even static. I tapped the squelch knob. Tried again. Still dead. That never happens. Even on the dead routes, you catch someone running his mouth about fuel prices or roadkill. But this? Silence. Like the air itself was out. I grabbed my flashlight from under the dash and turned it on him. Bright LED beam hit his chest and bounced off that fake patch like it was plastic. He flinched a little, then stepped away from the trailer doors and started walking back toward the cab. Not fast, not aggressive, but steady, like he'd decided I needed more convincing. I lowered the flashlight but didn't turn it off. Watched him come up to my door. He didn't ask me to step out, just stood there, hand resting on the edge of the window. "You're refusing a lawful inspection," he said, voice low now like he was trying to play serious. "That can lead to fines. We can escalate this." I asked for ID, official credentials, badge number. If you're DOT or state trooper, you'll have them. Otherwise, I'm staying in the cab. He stared at me for a second, jaw tight. Then he pulled out a leather wallet, flipped it open quick like a magic trick. Inside was a card, maybe a badge behind plastic, but he didn't hold it up long enough for me to read a thing. Closed it just as fast. "Satisfied?" he said. "No," I said. "That could be a library card for all I saw." That's when his smile dropped. He took a half step back, not in retreat, more like reevaluating. Then he leaned in close to the window and said, "We can do this the easy way or the hard way.
Heard that line before. Usually from someone who ain't got the law on his side. I didn't answer. Just kept my eyes forward and hand near the ignition. I started thinking through my options. No signal. CB's dead. Nowhere to turn off for miles. If I let him in the trailer, I'd be complicit in whatever he was trying to pull. And I had a manifest to protect. Warehouse seals, yeah, just a sticker. It's a promise. Break that, and it's on me. Doesn't matter why. Dispatch won't care. Insurance won't cover it. The only thing I could think to do was stall. I reached for the binder behind the seat, the one with permits, route maps, repair logs, all the boring but official stuff. Flipped through like I was looking for something. "Look," I said, not turning my head. "You want to talk to my dispatcher, that's fine. But I'm not cracking that load without a real reason and your badge number on a form." He took another step back. "You think this is a joke? You think I'm playing with you?" His tone changed, harder now, like a switch flipped. Less professional, more personal. That's when I knew I'd hit something, pushed a nerve. He didn't expect resistance. Not out here. Not at 2:45 a.m. on a stretch of blacktop no one drove at this hour. He started walking back toward his car. I watched his shoulders, trying to figure if he was pissed, rattled, or both, but he wasn't done. He stopped halfway, pulled out a phone, and started typing or scrolling or whatever. Screen lit up his face in the dark. And something about that image, him standing in the middle of the desert with a glowing screen and a fake badge, just made my stomach sink even lower. This wasn't random. He wasn't improvising. He had a plan. I didn't know what it was yet, but it sure as hell wasn't any inspection. I sat there, motor running low and steady, watching his every move through the mirror. My hand never left the key. Something was coming. I just didn't know from where. Not yet. I reached for my phone again, even though I already knew what I'd see. Still no bars. Not even that little emergency call-only symbol. Just a dead screen and the black nothing of the desert pressing in on all sides. I stared at it like maybe I could will a signal into existence, like maybe some tower out there changed its mind. No dice. I looked up and caught him still standing there, bathed in that bluish glow from his phone screen. Thumb tapping slow, not talking, just typing something or pretending to. I watched the way he moved, real deliberate, like he was buying time for something. For what, I didn't know, but I'd been in enough weird situations to know when something was crawling sideways. I figured if he was on a real call, I'd hear it. A radio crackle, a dispatcher voice, something. But there was nothing, just the hum of my reefer unit and the wind tickling the side mirrors. I don't spook easy, but I started feeling like I'd rolled right into something I wasn't supposed to see. I flipped the CB again, gave it another go. Breaker 19, any ears out here near mile marker 130, I-15 southbound? Got a false patrol stop, requesting check-in. Still dead. Channel felt hollow, like yelling down a dry well. That's when I thought, maybe he's jamming the signal. Sounds paranoid, I know, but the CB and phone both dead? That doesn't happen unless you're under a mountain or someone wants it that way. He started walking back toward my cab, slow again, measured. Same dead stare like earlier. Only now he wasn't trying to act official. Didn't say anything as he got close, just stared into the cab through the glass like he was sizing me up. I kept the door locked. "Step out of the vehicle," he said. "We're done playing games." "No, we're not," I answered. "Not till I know who you are. I already showed you credentials. Flashing a wallet like a kid showing off a fake FBI badge at recess doesn't count." He stared at me. Didn't blink. Then he said, "You think this is your call to make?" I didn't answer. Just kept one hand on the wheel, one hovering over the ignition. He reached for his belt, slow, like maybe he wanted me to see it. Maybe not. I tensed, ready to hit the pedal, but he stopped short. Just rested his fingers on whatever he had holstered. Didn't draw. Just a message. I was thinking hard now. We were far enough from anything that I couldn't rely on backup. No drivers had passed in a while, no taillights, no headlights behind me. Total blackout. Felt like I'd been cut off from the rest of the country. If I bailed, he might follow. If I stayed, he might push harder. Either way, the clock was ticking. I turned to the glove box, popped it open, Pulled out a laminated emergency contact card we keep for breakdowns. Had dispatch numbers, insurance, company reps. I tapped the number for Salt Lake Dispatch into my phone. No signal. Of course. Out of habit, I hit the dial anyway. Nothing. Not even a ring. Just silence. He saw me trying, and his lips twitched into a smirk like he found it funny. "You don't get it, do you?" he said, still outside my window. "Out here, there's no one coming." "Then I'll wait till morning," I said, "or till a real trooper shows up. Take your pick." That seemed to irk him. He stepped back again, started pacing a few feet away like he was deciding whether to go full pressure or change tactics. I took that second to scan his car again through the mirror. No markings, just plain white, as clean as a rental. And that plate, still no number, just metal. You ever seen a cop car with no plate? Me neither. That's when the fear turned into something else. Cold logic. I wasn't up against a uniform. I was up against someone pretending to be one, which meant he was either a con, a thief, or something worse. I ran through the possibilities. Cargo theft? Maybe. Stolen trailer parts? Could be. Identity theft? Unlikely. Smuggling? Not with a load full of washing machine motors. But maybe he didn't know what was in the trailer. Maybe he didn't care. Maybe it wasn't about the cargo at all. He came back to the door, tapped on the glass twice with his knuckle. "You got 10 seconds. Then I open it myself."
"You touch that seal," I said, "you're committing a federal offense. That seal's logged in 4 systems, and they'll trace it straight to this spot." He paused, just for a second, like maybe he didn't know that, or maybe he did, but didn't expect me to. I didn't wait. Fired the engine fully, hands steady now. I kept my foot on the brake, but my mind was already 2 steps ahead. If he made a move for the trailer again, I was gone. He didn't say anything else, just turned and started walking back to his car. Not rushed, calm. I watched him sit inside, saw the dome light flicker, then shut off. Couldn't tell what he was doing. Waiting, maybe, or calling someone, or checking his next move. Whatever it was, I had the strong feeling this wasn't over. I thought about flipping on my hazard lights, rolling forward slow, and making a turn back north. But with no signal, no way to warn dispatch, no way to prove what just happened, I didn't know what would be waiting ahead or behind. All I knew was I couldn't sit there forever. So I killed the interior lights, sat in the dark with just my gauges lighting up the dash, and my heart wasn't pounding anymore. Just steady now, like I'd moved from panic to calculation. He was still in his car behind me, engine running, headlights off. Dome light blinked once when he opened the door again, just enough for me to see movement. Then, dark. No radio chatter, no backup arriving, no partner stepping out. Just him and me on this empty slab of desert road. I reached up and flipped the CB again, just on instinct. Still nothing. Static had a certain rhythm when it's just bad reception. You hear it. But this wasn't that. This was dead. Like the whole frequency was being smothered. I didn't like that one bit. Even on the loneliest roads, you catch a driver yapping about roadkill or asking about way stations. But now, quiet as a grave. I sat still, trying to figure the angle. If he was trying to rob me, he was doing a piss-poor job of it. Too slow, too methodical. If he was stalling, what was he waiting for? Back up? Or more like a second car. Or maybe a target. Hell, maybe I was the test run. I leaned over and unlatched the little compartment above the visor. Pulled out my personal phone. Different carrier than the work one. Burner, I use for family. Or for when the main phone craps out. Flicked it on. 1 bar. Flickering like a dying firefly. Then gone. But it had been there a second. That gave me something. I leaned to the left side of the cab and held the phone up near the windshield, slow, careful not to be obvious. 1 bar blinked in again. Gone again. But it was real.
It's only slid the window down an inch, just enough, and stretched my arm out to the side mirror, raised the phone above the cab height like some roadside antenna.
1 bar, steady. That was enough. I clicked open the contacts and scrolled with my thumb until I found the emergency ops number for dispatch, marked with 2 asterisks so I wouldn't miss it. Dialed. Took forever to ring. I kept glancing at the mirror. He was still there, still just sitting in his car, lit by nothing, doing nothing. 1 ring, 2, then a click. "Fleet Ops," said a groggy voice. "Night shift." I leaned low toward the mic. "This is Jack Miller, Unit 4816, southbound I-15, mile marker 130. Immediate flag. I'm being stopped by a false patrol unit. No badge, no credentials, dead CB, no backup, requesting verification and assistance." He didn't answer right away. "Repeat that, Jack?" "I'm at 130 southbound. Solo unit pulled me over. Unmarked car, fake badge, asking to open sealed load. No DOT signs, no comms, CB's dead. No cell signal on work phone, just got 1 bar now. What do you show in the area?" The guy went quiet, typing fast probably. I heard his keyboard like little clicks over the line. "We got no stops listed for that sector. No UHP activity, no DOT inspections logged tonight in that stretch. You said no markings? Plain white Crown Vic or Taurus, push bar, spotlight, no license plate." Jesus. "Yeah, so I need to know what you want me to do. He's still behind me, watching." He was silent a moment. Then he said, "Sit tight, do not engage. I'm flagging UHP directly. Stay in the cab, keep moving if you feel unsafe, but don't break the seal. I'll patch in the troopers." "Copy," I said. "I'll keep this line open as long as the bar holds." Then I heard it. Engine revving behind me. I looked in the mirror and saw his headlights flash on, high beams for just a blink, then back to nothing. He was testing me, seeing if I'd spook. I stayed still, didn't flinch. Let dispatch listen. "He's moving," I said into the phone. "Still parked, but got engine rev. You getting UHP?" "Trying. We're bouncing through Salt Lake Relay. Hold." That bar started blinking again, and I knew I didn't have long. Then the voice returned, fast. "Jack, listen. UHP confirms no activity in your area. Nearest troopers 90 miles out. They're rolling now. You're alone for at least an hour." That hit like a sack of bricks. I stared at that mirror and watched his silhouette inside the car, just motionless, like he could wait all damn night. "Jack," dispatch said, "if you feel threatened, move. Don't initiate, but if he tries anything, get distance." "Understood," I said. But I already knew I wasn't waiting an hour. I'd seen enough. Whatever his game was, he wasn't going to win it with me sitting there like a fish in a barrel. I killed the call, held the phone out the window again. Bar was gone now. Dead air. Fine.
I fired up the cab lights for 1 second, enough to reach behind the seat and grab my high-vis vest and old hard hat, stuff I keep from years back when I had to do my own unloading at warehouses. Put 'em both on. Figured if I had to play it loud, I'd look official too. Then I threw the rig into gear, released the brake, rolled forward 5 feet. He didn't move. 10 feet. Still nothing. 20. Then his headlights flashed again. That time they stayed on. I kept it slow. Didn't floor it, didn't run. Just moved. Slow roll down the shoulder. 20. 25. He still didn't move. I eased back onto the main lane. Blinkers on. Flashers clicking steady, like a heartbeat. When I hit 35, I looked again. He was still sitting there. Then, taillights. He pulled forward just a few feet, like he was deciding. I didn't wait to find out. I punched it. 45. 50. The rig took a second, but once the gears locked in, I was flying. As much as a loaded rig can fly anyway. I didn't care. I just wanted distance. I kept one eye on the road, one on the mirror. For a full mile, nothing. Then I saw his lights again. He was moving, but not chasing, just cruising, keeping pace maybe. Following? I didn't know, but I kept going. Didn't stop, didn't slow. Somewhere up ahead was the next exit, maybe 20 miles. I'd take it. Whatever this was, it was time to put some damn space between me and that ghost car. I kept it steady at 55, eyes bouncing between the road and my mirrors, one hand on the wheel, the other resting near the brake handle like a finger on a trigger. That fake cop car didn't tail me hard, but he wasn't gone either. Just a ghost floating in the dark behind me. No siren, no signals. Just those headlights in the distance, flickering like he was pacing me. My knuckles were tight on the wheel, not from fear anymore, just readiness. The kind you feel when it's not fight or flight, but just go. I wasn't waiting around to see how this ended. I'd rolled through enough small towns to know you don't reason with a man playing cop at 3 a.m. in the middle of nowhere. I passed a sign that said, "Rest area, 17 miles." Not much, but it meant two things: light and maybe people. Maybe a camera. And right now, anything with a witness was better than this dead highway. I stayed right lane, cruise off, every muscle listening to the engine and every bump in the road. I could feel the trailer weight, heavy and centered, like it was leaning with me. Another 5 miles and he was still back there, keeping his distance. But then I saw his lights flicker again, off and on, just for a second, like a stutter. My gut said he was either losing interest or calling someone. That phone he had earlier? He'd used it for something. Question was, did I want to wait around and find out what? I made the call. Time to go. I reached down, grabbed the gear stick and dropped a half gear to get some bite. Turbo whined just a little.
I wasn't flooring it, not yet, but I wanted him to know I wasn't his mark. Speed climbed to 60, 63, engine pulling clean. Mirrors showed the same thing. Nothing but lights way behind, too far for a plate, too close to ignore. I kept the vest on, helmet too, just in case I had to jump out in front of anyone and play dumb like I was inspecting a tire. I had a few tricks left if this got weird. But honestly, I was just aiming for that rest stop. I started rehearsing my words for dispatch in my head. Where I'd stopped, what mile marker, what the guy looked like. I'd already made peace that if the trailer seal got busted, I'd take the heat, just not a gunpoint by some asshole in sunglasses and a bad patch. Then it happened. He switched lanes. Not fast, not like he was trying to pass, just drifted left, hung there a second, then edged forward, like a cat creeping up on a bird. I didn't react, just kept speed, held center, eyes dead ahead. Let him make the first move. He came up to my rear driver's side corner, stayed there, didn't try to pass, just lingered. That was the worst part, like he was watching me, waiting for a mistake. I cracked the window an inch to get some night air, clear my head. My hands were dry now, all nerves burned off, just focus. Then I hit the turn signal, let it blink once, twice, slid into the exit lane toward the rest stop. He stayed in the left lane. For a moment I thought maybe that was it. He kept going. I slowed down as I hit the rest area curve, tires humming low, pulled into the first big rig spot I saw, angled my trailer clean, parked square, killed the engine. Sat there, lights off. I waited. Nothing, just the ticking of the engine cooling off and the soft hum of another reefer running somewhere down the lot. Looked around. 2 other trucks. No headlights coming in behind, no ghost car, no one pulling in. Just me in the dark. I got out, walked the perimeter, didn't stray far from the rig, just enough to stretch and make myself visible in the vest. Figured if he was still watching, he'd think twice. Then I saw it. Taillights on the highway. That same low ride, that same lazy drift in the left lane. He passed the exit, kept going southbound. No turn, no brake flash, nothing. He was gone, or pretending to be. I stood there a minute, breathing desert air, slow and deep. Something about the night made the heat sink into your bones when the adrenaline left. I stepped back into the cab, locked up again, and called dispatch the second I saw one bar flicker back on. "He's gone," I said, rolled past the rest stop. Still no plate, no markings, same car.
The night guy didn't waste time. "We're logging it. UHP's 25 minutes out. They want you to stay put." "I'm not waiting," I said. "I'll be rolling in 5. Just needed the distance." "You sure?" "Yeah, he blinked first. I'm good to drive." There was a pause. Then he said, "All right, we'll ping you every 10 miles.
You get anything strange again, even a shadow in the mirror, you call." "Copy that." I hung up, sat for a minute, checked my mirrors again. Still nothing. I started the engine, headlights off for a second, then flicked them on low and eased back onto the ramp. Merged slow, watched every inch of the mirror. Just black highway stretching out behind me. But I didn't floor it this time. I cruised, let the hum of the tires calm things down, didn't speak, didn't think, just drove. Whatever that was, it wasn't over. Not in my head, anyway. I didn't know what he wanted or who he was working with, if anyone. But I knew one thing. I wasn't supposed to be the one who got away. I rolled another hour south with no sign of him. The highway stayed empty, just the occasional pair of headlights far behind or the glow of a rig going the other way. I kept the CB on even though it was still dead, more for the comfort of the hum than anything else. Phone sat on the dash, one bar flickering in and out like a warning light. Didn't matter. I wasn't stopping till I saw uniforms that didn't look like they came out of a Halloween catalog. Somewhere past Parowan, dispatch pinged me again. "UHP wants to meet you up ahead," the night guy said. "Cedar City off-ramp. They're staged at the Chevron right past the exit." "Marked unit?" I asked. "Confirmed. You'll see lights." I kept it steady. 10 more miles, and I saw the red and blues flashing slow off the right shoulder. Clean UHP black and white, newer Explorer model with the push bars and radar domes. That's what a real cop car looks like. No pretending. I took the exit, eased into the lot. Troopers stepped out before I'd even finished parking. Early 30s, squared away, real posture, real badge, no sunglasses at night. He stayed by his vehicle as I came down from the cab. "Jack Miller?" he asked. "Yeah. You got my info?" "Yup. Dispatch briefed us. Let's talk inside where it's lit." We walked into the station. It smelled like burnt coffee and rubber floor mats. One clerk behind the counter barely looked up. Trooper led me to a corner table near the windows. "Tell me exactly what happened," he said. I ran him through the whole thing. From the moment the white sedan appeared, to the fake stop, to the dead CB, to the way the guy hovered by the trailer and how I pulled off. I didn't embellish. Didn't need to. Just the facts. He listened without interrupting, took a few notes, then he looked up and said, "That patch you described? We've had 2 other reports in the last 4 months. Similar setup, unmarked white car, fake insignia, targeting solo rigs, always southbound." "What do they want?" I asked. "Still figuring that out," he said. "Could be cargo theft, could be scouting. In one case, they had the driver open the trailer, then let him go, like they were just looking for something specific. In another, guy didn't comply, and the car disappeared. So it's organized. Looks like it."
Real troopers never patrol alone out here past midnight. That stretch you were on, it's dark for a reason. No patrol zones after 1 a.m. unless it's life or death. Too easy to get caught out. "Why isn't this a bulletin?" I asked. "You ever see one?" He paused. "There is one, but it's internal, not public." "Why not?" "Because if word gets out that someone's impersonating cops, every legit stop becomes a problem. Dispatch said you handled it smart. You kept the seal intact, didn't engage. Most guys don't." I didn't answer. Just stared out the window a second. Then I said, "So what now?" "We're filing a report. We'll pull traffic cam data near the last rest stop, maybe catch a plate or a silhouette. Probably nothing, though. These guys know where the blind spots are." "Great," I muttered. "We'll also flag your truck en route to law enforcement systems. If that vehicle shows up again and someone logs it, it'll ping us." "What about protection?" He gave me a look. Not mocking, just tired. "We don't have the manpower to ride every load through Utah. You're already lucky you got cell coverage enough to call in." I leaned back. The chair creaked. "You know what bothers me?" I said. "He didn't rush me. He wasn't desperate. He was calm, like he had time." "Yeah," the trooper said. "That bothers me too." We finished the report, signed a couple of things, and he gave me his card. Said I could follow up in a few days if I wanted, but odds were I wouldn't hear anything. These guys are careful. This wasn't some kid with a badge from eBay. They knew what they were doing. Uniform looked close? From a distance, yeah. Patch was off, but everything else, someone did their homework. That's what we think too. I walked out to the truck, fired it up again. The fuel gauge had dropped more than I'd thought. Long idles in the dark will do that. Before pulling out, I sat there a minute, both hands on the wheel, staring at the empty highway ahead. I didn't feel safe. Not like you do when you see real law parked behind you. This was different. It stuck to you, like a smell that won't wash off. I called dispatch one last time before I rolled. "You want me to keep running tonight?" "You're cleared," the night guy said. "Route's open, no other flags, your call." "All right," I said, "but if I see anything weird, I'm stopping at the next lit spot." "Understood. We'll keep you checked every 20 miles. I hung up, put the rig in gear, pulled out slow, mirrors lit up. That trooper watched me go. He didn't wave, didn't nod, just stood there, arms folded, like he knew it wasn't over either. The rest of the trip went quiet, but not in a good way. I made it to Barstow by mid-morning, dropped the trailer at the yard, and sat in the cab a while longer before checking out with dispatch. Didn't feel like talking to anyone. Didn't want coffee, didn't want food. Just needed a minute. You get these hauls sometimes that stick to your bones.
Not because something exploded or went off the rails, but because you saw a corner of something you weren't supposed to. This was one of those. Dispatch logged everything, gave me a soft, good job keeping it tight, and routed me to a motel off Main Street with the company discount. I didn't argue. Took a long shower, stared at the wall a while, and then called my brother in Montana. He used to be a state trooper before he blew his knee out and took a desk job. I didn't tell him everything, just painted enough of the picture. His line went quiet, then he said, "Fake traffic stops aren't new. But if that guy wasn't looking to rob you, then he was running recon. And if he's running recon, it means someone's paying attention to what's moving where." I said, "So why target me? That load was nothing. Parts, factory junk, no resale value." He said maybe he didn't know that. Maybe he was checking trailers till he found the right one. That sat with me longer than I wanted. A couple days later, back at the company yard in Nevada, safety officer pulls me aside. Says they're updating policy on solo night runs through central Utah. Effective immediately. No more single-unit runs through that corridor between midnight and 5 a.m., not without second driver, second truck, or escort vehicle if high value. Just like that. Word got around. A couple guys from maintenance came by my truck while I was topping off fluids, asked if the story was real. I didn't dress it up. Just said, yeah, it happened. And no, I didn't get a plate. And no, there's no arrest. And no, I don't think he was alone. I installed dash cams front and back after that. Not the cheap kind either. Real ones with night vision, constant loop, and cloud sync. Paid for it myself. Company offered to reimburse later, but I didn't wait for approval. I also swapped my route preferences in the system. Told dispatch to keep me off that stretch of I-15 unless there was no other way. Even then, I wanted daylight and full cell coverage all the way through. They didn't argue. One of the night dispatchers called me off the record a week later. Said they'd gotten 2 more reports, not as detailed, but similar. White, unmarked sedan tailing trucks, mostly solos, always southbound. One guy got followed all the way to Vegas before the car turned off. Another said the fake officer knocked on his window, then just walked away when the guy hit record on his phone. I asked, "You think it's connected?" He said, "Hell yes, it's connected, but no one's naming it yet." That's the part that gets me. There's no name for it, no bulletin drivers can pass around, just whispers and warnings at truck stops. Watch out for unmarked units. If a stop feels off, don't open your trailer. No real cop works a highway alone at 3 in the morning. It's like a bad smell moving through the system. Everyone notices, but no one knows where it's coming from. So now I do things different.
I fuel up early, stop before midnight, Avoid long desert runs without a partner rig somewhere in visual range. I don't sleep in no man's land anymore. I keep a burner phone with 2 carriers and a satellite ping device stashed under the bunk. Not paranoia, just insurance. Because once you've been the guy they tried, you don't wait around to be the guy they get. One night a few weeks later, I was fueling in Mesquite, Nevada, truck idling behind the bay. A young guy at a worn-out Volvo rig came up to me, said he heard I was the one from the Utah thing. I said, yeah, maybe. He looked nervous. What would you have done if he'd pulled a gun? I looked at him and said, I didn't wait long enough to find out. He nodded, then asked, you think you'll try again? I didn't answer right away, just looked out at the empty road, dark, stretching in both directions. He will, but not with me.